Hello, welcome to the session on inventory valuation. This is the problem that was given to you as an assignment. So the numerical here is about Tata Steel Company, which has changed its valuation method from FIFO to LIFO in the year 2012. So what does FIFO mean? In the case of FIFO, it is first in, first out, and whenever we are talking about this first in, first out, we are looking at the prices of the material which will be utilized first for calculation of the cost. And when it is the LIFO is whenever the material comes in and we have to calculate the cost of the material, it will be the current cost which will be taken into the cost of the material, and you will be left out with the stale prices for the calculation of inventory. So let us just look at the material that was purchased by the company in the year 2012. The company had 15,000 tons of inventory at the beginning of the year, and they had purchased 1 lakh units during the year 2012, and they have sold away 95,000 tons of material in the year 2012. Now, first of all, I would be more interested in the physical movement of the material to find out what is the material that is left out at the end of the year. The idea here is they have not asked us to do a valuation as per a particular method. While I will be using the periodic method of calculating the inventory, the reason is that they haven't given us detailed purchases and detailed sales in this numerical problem. Hence, we will go with the periodic method. So, for this I have taken the help of the Excel sheet so that we make it out very easily. So, let me just look at what is the physical inventory that I have been actually left out with. 15,000 is the material that I had at the beginning of the year. I have purchased 1 lakh units and I have sold away 95,000 units of material. So what is the material that I am left out with? The physical quantity that is left out with me is 20,000 units. So it will be the same for the FIFO as per the, and as per the LIFO also it would be the same. The only thing here is find out the price of it. So now, what does FIFO mean? The FIFO means that you have utilized the prices which came in first. So, say for example, you said that your price of the material was 125 for 15,000 tons. Then during the year you purchased at an average of 130, that was 1 lakh. And then it also mentions that the last 20,000 units that you purchased was at a rate of 135. So, I just put it this way, saying that you had 125. On an average, you have purchased 130 and the last prices were 135, which says that the last 20,000 units. So, I have put in the units as 20,000. So, let us say for example, if I were to use LIFO, what I do? I would be exhausting 125 first, then come to 130, and whatever is left out would be the current prices. So, here in this problem, he says that you are left out with how many units? You are left out with 20,000 units. So, what is the price of 20,000 units here? The price of 20,000 units as per the FIFO is 135. So, what is the inventory valuation? I say it is equal to 20,000 into 135. So, I am left off with the material of 27 lakhs when it comes to 2012. Now, let us talk about LIFO. What does LIFO say? LIFO says that whatever prices were there in the current should be used first. That is, the last price that came in should be used first for the cost. So, I would have used, suppose I am using the material, I would have used the price of 135 in the beginning, and then as on I use the next material, I use 130, and then I will be using 125. So, what happens here is that I exhaust 135 material, exhaust 130 material, then I will be ending up with 125, which will be either in my stock or the last material I should be consuming. So, now let us look at this problem which says that you are left off with how many units of material? 20,000 of material. So, I may have utilized 20,000 material. Out of this, 80,000 also came in, but I will, 80,000 plus 20,000 is 1 lakh, but how much is the material I have utilized? I have utilized 95,000 units. So, utilize first 135 and then from 130 I utilized 75,000. So, how much am I left off with? I am left off with 5,000 units of this 130. So, is equal to, where is this? Is equal to 135 not 135, 130 into 5,000 plus the opening stock as it is. What is this at the rate of 125? Because these are 15,000 units. So that is what I will be left out with. So the material that I will be left out with will be 25 lakhs, 25,000 in the case of LIFO. How about 2013? He says that in the year 2013, he says that he has purchased material of 90,000 tons, while the sale is 105,000 tons. So here the purchases were less and the sales are more. So that means out of whatever material that he had how many units? 20,000 units. Into this 20,000 units, he has actually purchased, in this 20,000 units, he has actually purchased 1,95,000, right? 90. How much did he purchase? 90,000 units. And he has sold away 1,05,000 units. So, what will be the material that he is left off with? He is left off with 5,000 units of material at the end of the year. So, it will be the same for the LIFO as well. While the pricing, let us look at the pricing. So, 5,000. So, what does he say? When he has purchased this material, he says that in the year 2013, the last 5,000 tons was purchased at a rate of 140. In the FIFO, you will have to take the current prices. So, that will mean is equal to 5,000 tons into 140. You have that. While what happens to LIFO? All the current prices, as you have seen, that you will have to use the first, you will have to use the last price that came in, then the last price that came in, and you will be left off with what? The stale price. So, here you are left off with 5,000 units is equal to 5,000 into 125. So, this is what is the material. So, please put in as is equal to here. I am just taking this so that the table that was given to us, we just fill in the table as it is so that it becomes easy for you. Coming to, so this is what I am left off with. Now the next question here is, what is the cost of the material? What is the cost of the material? What is the formula for the cost of the material? The cost of the material is the opening stock plus the purchases that you make minus the closing stock. So what is the opening stock that we had? We had an opening stock of, in the case of FIFO, let us just see the FIFO here. In the case of FIFO, what is the opening stock that we had? We had 18,75,000. So is equal to 18,75,000 plus what are the purchases that you did on an average? He said that you have made a purchase in 2012, you have made a purchases of how much? 1 lakh units at an average rate of, he is given an average rate of how much in 2012, average price is 130. So let us take this average price into 130. Closer. So this is the purchases minus your closing stock. What's the closing stock here? This is the closing stock. So the value is 1,21,75,000 is the cost of the material that you have sold. Can we apply the same thing for LIFO as well? I think we should be able to do it here. Right. So it will be is equal to again the opening stock plus your purchases. What's the purchases we have done? Again the same thing, 130, 1 lakh into 130, which is the average price that was given to us, minus the closing stock. What's the closing stock of LIFO? Yes. So are we done? 1 crore 23 lakhs 50,000. So, can we apply the same thing for 2013 as well? Because this is 5,000 units of stock that is that's remaining. So, here let us say what's the opening stock here is equal to what is the opening stock? The opening stock for 2013 will be 27 lakhs. The closing stock of 2012 becomes the opening stock of 2013 plus what's the price that you have purchased, an average price. The average price is 140. You have purchased how many units? 90,000 tons. Done. Into 90,000 tons into average price of 140 minus your closing stock. What's the closing stock? We are there. This is the cost of the material. Can we apply the same thing here? We can. So what is the opening stock for LIFO? The opening stock for LIFO was 25 lakhs plus you have your cost of material that you have purchased 90,000 units into 140. That's your purchases minus your closing stock. That's what you have got as the cost of the goods sold. So I think you can fill this up here. Just employ this is equal to cost of the goods sold. Just that this table can be filled up. Just to fill up this table, I am employing the working. So from the workings I have taken this and we have filled it. The second question is that if at all 15,000 tons is the normal inventory that the company always wanted to maintain, but here you see that the company has gone into involuntary liquidation. What does that mean? Involuntary liquidation is where you sell away your base stock. The stock that was actually kept as a base stock, you will have to utilize it. And then why is that we utilize? There could be various reasons. Maybe the demand and the supply could be one of the reasons, or otherwise there could be some strike in the organization. There are several reasons. So one of them I take it as demand and supply here. So assuming that they have actually utilized that base stock, what happens here? Because that they have moved into the LIFO, what happens? So here, if at all they have to, again, it says that if at all the company has to refill or revamp itself with the rest of the material that it has utilized. So 15,000, what is it is left out with? It is left out with 5,000 units. But what is that it has to maintain? 15,000 units. So what is the new material that it will have to buy? 10,000 tons. So what is the current price that it is going to buy it at? It is going to buy it at 140 units. So that would mean it will have to incur a cost of 14 lakhs. While what would have been the benefit that the company would have if at all it retained its price? It would be at a rate of 125. So 14 lakhs is what it is incurring today at current price to buy this material, while the cost would have been 12 lakhs 50,000. So what's the benefit that it would have benefited in the inventory? It is 1 lakh 50,000. But what happens to the profit? Because the cost of the inventory was less than the current price, the cost of the inventory was less. So the matching, when you are matching the cost with the revenue, the benefit rolls out into the form of the profit. So the profit that was increased was to the extent of 1 lakh 50,000.